Look at you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Elizabeth Beads, and you are watching Interior Wellness TV. I'm so excited that you're joining us today. I have a really special guest. Her name is Mairi Budreau. From what I know of her so far, she's an artist, a visionary, and also she leads meditation walks out in nature. So I'm really excited to find out more about her and more about what she's up to. So welcome, Mairi. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me.
So I'd love to start off with you telling us a little bit about you and what you do.
I walk a lot. I walk for solace, for calm, to sort out my life. I've been on a spiritual awakening in earnest the last couple of years. It was not something I planned. It happened to me. It's been on a slow burn, actually, for many years, and I didn't really recognize what was going on. It's been very, very interesting. I've had a lot of contact from the spirit world through mediums, through manifestations, through things I find when I'm walking. I ask for help and guidance when I'm out in nature, and it comes, it appears, or I hear things. I don't mean I hear spirit things, but animals will speak to me. Spirit speaks to me through animals, and I love it. It's so natural to me. It feels so good to have these experiences. And for a long time, I didn't recognize why they felt so comfortable. But as I have grown with my spirituality, I do understand. It's just old lives leaking through into this life. The things I've learned in other times are showing up now, and that's why they feel so familiar and so natural.
I love how you mentioned that you didn't plan it. It was a slow burn, and then kind of all of a sudden your spiritual path. What was that like for you to not even ask for it or plan your spiritual awakening, but to have things just start to come to you?
At times it was shocking because on occasion the particular events were quite jarring, especially the first couple of events, which I'm not going to share with you at this point. They're going to be in my book that I'll be publishing in the next year or so. But I didn't know what was happening, but it fascinated me. So it started me on this journey of research. And a lot of information wasn't available, especially online at the time, and it wasn't relevant to where I lived. It was relevant to the Southwest. But over the years, more and more information has come online, and I've actually traveled down to Arizona and New Mexico several times, and I've met people from my past life, which was a real amazing experience. I've walked in the land where my spirit guide, the first main spirit guide that I didn't even know about, where he lived and died. I've walked there, and that's quite a profound experience when you're open and you don't even know it. It's been truly an awakening because I didn't know all these things were going on in the background. And with the help of mediums, I've had readings every year for 16 years. And through their ability to channel, it's really helped sort out a lot of the questions and the confusion that I've experienced. But now that I have all this behind me, and I embrace it, when I go out in nature, it's like, okay, bring it on, guys. I want to see you. I want to feel you. I want to hear you, connect with me because I want to know more. And that's, I think, elevated my energy level so that I do have greater access. And that's a big part of what these meditation walks are, is you put yourself into a daydream type state of mind before you start walking. And that's done through meditation. And then when you're out walking, you are in silence. You don't speak. And we are in a group, but there's a lot of distance between each participant. And you walk in silence and you try to quieten your mind so you're not, well, I shouldn't say try to quiet. You quieten your mind so that your everyday stuff it's back there. It's behind you. You don't want that interfering with this experience. And you open your eyes and your ears and your body and your senses to everything that's around you. All that original energy, which is what we're made of, which is what's been buried by our conventional lifestyles and living in urban areas away from nature. So when we're out there, we open up to it and we connect to it, and it raises the frequency of the energy in our bodies and in our souls, and it allows a reciprocity of information from the spirit world to you. And you can ask questions and find answers if you're looking. You might be trying to sort something out, or there's a problem relationship, and you see a bird and you think, okay, there's a bird. What's the bird doing? Is that answer in what that bird is doing? Like, I had an issue with abundance, right? And I was not finding abundance in financial ways. And I went out for a walk and I saw this little chickadee. And the chickadee is going from tree to tree, and everywhere it looks, there's food. It's all there. It knows it's there. It expects it to be there. And that's what I was not doing. I wasn't expecting it to be there. I wasn't recognizing the abundance all around me. So that was the lesson, just from seeing a little chickadee. So that's an example of how you can interpret what you see when you're out there and elevating the energy in your physical being while you're out there.
And then since the beginning of time have been from nature.
I'm sorry, the audio wasn't good there. Can you repeat that?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I'm hearing myself in double bass through your speaker. I'll try again.
Okay.
I was just commenting about how humans connect with nature and learn from nature since forever.
Yeah, it's in our DNA. I mean, we've spent, like, the majority of humanity has been spent outdoors. And we have shut ourselves off from that. And it feeds us and nurtures us. And we've forgotten that in many cases. So to reintroduce it into regular everyday life, to be outside and to be quiet outside, has tremendous healing capabilities and opens us up for greater spiritual communication.
It's so true, and it's so important. I know that I find that in my life, I spend a lot of time working on the computer, and that to get outside is like, it's like balm on a burn. It feels so soothing and relaxing to reconnect with nature. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Japanese have actually been doing studies on not meditation walks, but just walks in the woods. And since 1982, they've been doing these studies. And what they have found is the reduced blood pressure, reduced stress, reduced anxiety, reduced confusion. And when you combine those types of benefits with a meditation in the walk as well, because not only is the walk have a meditation at the beginning, there's one during the walk. And you can do this whole walk over the course of 3 or 4 hours. The long-term effects are evident. I mean, you feel great when you're finished the walk, but this shift in your energy carries on for days afterwards. So the more frequently you do walks like this, or the longer the duration of the walks, the health benefits, the mental ease, the just the total relaxation in the body are huge benefits, in addition to having these communications with spirit. So I can't see any better preventative medicine than a meditation walk.
I'm excited. And walking has always been something I connect with, and it feels so relaxing for me. So how can people walk if they have somewhere near their own place? Is it something they can do on their own on a daily basis? How would they do it, and how long do you recommend they do it for?
Absolutely. People can do this on their own as well as coming along with me. If you're able to put yourself through a little meditation first, find a quiet place, a green space, as wild as possible. But if it is a park, find an area where there's few people as possible so that you're not distracted by voices and dogs and children running around. Get to as quiet a place as you can find. And yes, if you're comfortable doing a meditation on your own, go for it. If you want to get out where it's really wild, you see very awe-inspiring landscapes, and there are many of those around Kamloops, but you're not comfortable being by yourself, that's when I encourage you to either book a walk with me, or you can bring your family or friends or coworkers and join me in a walk like that. We have lots of space between us, so it feels private. You can stop while you're walking and look at something, or just stop and soak things up, or you can carry on, and we end up gathering together later in the walk and doing another meditation. But yeah, there's all kinds of ways to do it. But the thing is, get out and do it.
I think doing it under guidance, especially for your first couple of times, if it's something different, like we all walk, that's for sure. But do we take the time to meditate and to really open ourselves up to answers from nature? So to be guided by somebody like yourself for our first couple of times where we're intending that as a practice is a really special thing. Be in a group, in a tribe of people who are also with the same intention. It must be very powerful.
It is. And what's really unique is that there's like this fallback through time into this ancient communication where you are only communicating through movement. I mean, you're conscious of where the others are, where they are behind you and in front of you, because you need to follow, but you're not talking. And when we assemble for the second meditation, again, there's no speaking. We just observe each other, and everyone places themselves around, and then I lead the second meditation. And it's like this primordial communication, which really stirs me up because I love anything primitive, anything indigenous. And I think it's an awakening from just past times. And it's a very enriching and surprising thing that happens when you're on these walks.
Very cool. I love seeing your excitement when you speak about anything that's primal or indigenous. So can you tell us more about your connection with the land and indigenous cultures?
The connection with the land has been ever since I was a little wee girl. And my mom used to do the wash on Mondays and with the old wringer washer. So she was completely absorbed in what she was doing. And I'd slip out the back door and across the road and over into the fields. And I'd be gone just looking and waiting in the hopes of seeing a wild animal or find some neat rock or whatever, get up on the highest hill and look. And then I'd hear, Mairi. It's like, oh, now I got to go home and I'm going to get a bit of a spanking because I took off again. But it never stopped me from repeating it. But I slept out one whole summer when I was 10, out in the front lawn. And in thunderstorms, I just crawl up on the porch. But I stayed out all summer. That was just who I was. And it's who I still am. And the Indigenous connection, I always felt an affinity for, well, in the context of the time, Indians. You know, this is back in the 60s. And as I grew older, I just felt them. And I never knew one. I never met one. When I got old enough that I could buy something, I bought a birch bark canoe model. I bought a drum. I bought moccasins. I mean, those are the things that were significant to me. And when I moved to BC, I'm from Ontario. When I moved out here, I worked with, for 3 years, an Aboriginal carver on the coast. And I learned how to carve totem poles and masks and bowls. And it was during that time when the awakening really started. I had a dream about a canyon down the southwest. I didn't even know that it existed, but then in a short time, I discovered a picture of the very same place I dreamed of in a book. It's like, this is a real place. I have to go there. And I eventually did go there, and that's a whole other story. But it's always been there. And when I learned about colonialism and the effects on Aboriginal people, I went through years of agony and empathy and a sense of apology. What can I do to make this up? Not realizing that I myself had been one many times. But that explained why I felt the connection so deeply and so personally. It did. It always felt like these things that happened to them were happening to my people and even happening to me. But I've grown through that and have sorted that out, and that'll be in the book. It's way too complex to include here, but that's kind of the overview of the Indigenous connection, and it's alive and well.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel that your connection is deeply heartfelt. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Now, you mentioned a book a minute ago, and I also saw this on your website. I'm excited. You're writing a book.
Yes. These occurrences that have happened since I was a young child, this slow burning spiritual awakening, I'm putting it into a book. It started out as a biography, but that was way too complex and way too long. There's just way too much. So I've decided I would just narrow it down to these, basically the chronology of these spiritual experiences. And the purpose of sharing it in the form of a book is so if things like this are happening to other people, they can see that there's a purpose for it. These events are wake-up calls, or they're breadcrumbs leading you on your path to be your authentic self, which is what I believe has been the purpose for them to happen in my life. And that's why I want to share it. And also the variety of ways, like I'm not a medium in my own opinion, but the things that happen have been so varied. So, from seeing a photograph to finding a balloon in the woods to having a prophetic dream and things showing up in the internet, and there's so many things. Whereas a medium, they raise their energy level and the information comes. And mine is, I wish mine was like that, because then I knew I could orchestrate when it was going to come, and there it is, and then do it. But mine is it just comes hither and yon, and I do get things in meditation as well. But I love the unpredictability of it. I never know when it's going to come, and but I always know when I do. Right? You get that sense in your chest, in your soul. Right? It's like, oh, okay, got it, guys. All right, put me on the path again, or whatever.
I love that. It's so accepting I think that sometimes on our spiritual journeys and quests, we get to thinking that it has to be in a certain way, or that it has to look or feel a certain way. And you seem to be okay with however it comes.
Well, I've kind of had to be. There's been no other way that it has come for me. So, and it's like kind of like a puzzle or a game at times, and it's amusing at times, or it's like I say, at other times it's been quite shocking. And but I love it all. It's been it's been fascinating. I've journaled about it ever since it started. So there's a lot of rich resource to put into the book.
And when is the book set to come out, or do you have a date yet?
I don't have a date yet because like I say, I started it as a biography. So now I'm sorting it out and weeding out the parts that aren't necessary about the spiritual journey. So I want to have it out within the next year.
Oh, very cool. We're excited to see more about that. Now, you share your walks and your book, like your writing and everything that you're doing, you're sharing it with other people. What makes you passionate about bringing your gifts to others?
I'm passionate about it because it's real. It's real. And I'll step aside from your question for a second, in that this spiritual awakening has been like coming out. It's like I'm the real me now. And I used to kind of hide it. I knew this stuff was going on, but I didn't know what it meant and the full breadth of where it was going to lead me. But it's led me here. And I feel authentic. And you lose people on the way, right? They're not expecting it. They didn't know that about you. And so in my blog posts and such, I've lost people from my art community, but that's okay. I mean, they're not ready. That's fine. Those who are, come on board, and let's share experiences. Now, what was your question again? I got off topic.
Well, I love what you just said. I mean, on a spiritual path, there's people who will fall away and other people who will join us as we shift and change. And that's really important. And now you're stepping forward as a teacher and sharing these walks and meditations and your connection with nature and Native people with others. And I'm excited that you're doing that.
Yes, I am too. Oh, yes, that's why, because it's real. The reason I want to share it is so that people can connect to themselves. We all wear these masks, right? It's how we've been taught to live in this society. And it's so sad that we're not our real selves, even to ourselves. You know, it often takes a crisis before we break that mask and we let ourselves, even privately, accept who we are. And I think by doing, we show how to do it, right? By doing it publicly, we show how to do it. It's not my goal to say to others, be like me. It's my goal for others to be like you. Be you. See, I'm doing it. You can do it. You can do it. And I share the stumbling blocks, the foibles, the gaffes. And I'll do one right now. I was, when I wrote the biography, I thought, okay, so much of my life has been hung up on anxiety. And I thought that I could help people overcome their anxiety because I've overcome mine, which is unheard of in many cases. I mean, I had it. It was crippling anxiety. So I thought, okay, I'm going to offer this to people. I'm going to share with them how I do this. And it just went, nobody wants to, I guess, admit they have anxiety. I know that it's perceived as a weakness in our world. So what? But people don't think like that. And so it was a flop. And I was public with it, and it was a flop. Okay, so I'm not supposed to do it that way. I can help people with anxiety by going on a walk, and in not so obvious a way. You don't have to say, I have anxiety, I'm going to come on your walk. You just come because you want to. You come because you want the experience, or you want to heal, or you want to be calm, or whatever your reason. And so it comes in through the back door. So I misread the signals, and so what? Here I am doing something else now.
I love that you can laugh in the midst of your journey. That's so refreshing.
Well, I think I have to. I've eaten a lot of crow in my life, and it's just that's what life is, right? It's all about lessons and learning from your mistakes or misreading the signs. We all do it. I do it.
Yeah, or we think we need something, or we need to do something, but the real reason isn't what we thought it was.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, this journey, when you're in this spiritual awakening, the clues aren't always obvious, right? You can so easily misread something. So ask again, you know, ask for, I want an absolute dead on sign, guys. Then I'll know. You know, if you get 2 or 3 in a row, okay, now I know for sure. I don't anymore rely on one sign to indicate that's what I should be doing next or whatever.
So true. I've discovered that more and more lately, that the signs are really subtle for me, and that if I'm waiting for something giant, it's not necessarily going to be there. But if I slow down and pay attention to the subtle stuff, it comes.
Yes. Yes. That's often the way.
I keep seeing the pictures behind you. Is this your art?
Yes, it is. Yeah. A lot of it's the works on my wall are my personal journey. As an artist, I need to try to make things concrete for myself, and using imagery. And I would kind of put the question out, you know, how can I convey this feeling, or how can I convey this connection? And I have to wait, and then I'll get an inspiration, or I'll get a dream, or I'll wake up with the idea, or it comes when I'm in a shower or on a walk. And then it's like, get home, because the idea is alive right now. I usually take paper and pen with me when I walk, because I get a flow of ideas or things to write most frequently when I'm out like that. So yeah, but that's what that artwork that you're seeing in the background is from my journey.
I love that you said that when you're walking, you get the inspirations. I get that all the time when I'm really relaxed. That's when things come through.
Yeah, the lines will just start flowing, and it's like, oh wow, got to write that down, because if I try to hold it, it's like a river. It blocks up, and you don't get the rest of it. And usually by the time I get home, I forgot it. I can't sustain it. It's like sound. You can't hold on to it.
Yeah, I recently read a wonderful book by Elizabeth Gilbert it's called Big Magic. It's about creativity. And she describes how ideas are almost like entities, and they come to you. And you got to grab them and before they leave, because they're on their way.
That's right. That's right. You're in this flow when you're in that space, and things become, it's like, I always think of it like lottery balls. They just drop down. It's like, okay, you either use the number or you don't. It's gone.
It's true. And if you don't use it, it'll move on maybe to somebody else.
That's right.
Yeah. So how did the idea for leading these meditation walks, how did that one come to you?
That was last November. I was out on a walk back of Barnhart Vale, where I live, and I was exercising The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And so I was completely in the moment with every step I was taking. And it's just, people should be doing this. You should be leading people doing this kind of thing so that they have the benefit of experiencing the moment of the sounds or the quiet that is in the woods. And then there were some more walks because I walk all the time. And every time I went out, it kept coming to me. Take people with you. Take people with you. And so, okay, how do I find people who want to try this kind of thing? And so I didn't pursue it. I just let it lie for a while. And I went to the summer solstice ceremony at the Akashic Ranch. And I was quite taken with the property there. And I understood there was about 100 acres. So after the ceremony, I contacted Marianne, and who runs that wellness ranch, and asked her, if I could come and see her about walks. And so I went up there, and she said, I've been thinking about this ever since I bought this property, about having walks here. She said, I was just waiting for the person to come. And I presume you're it. So we set up the walks there and got started that way.
Oh, that's exciting when the connections happen that way. It's just perfect timing.
It's beautiful.
So you have a walk coming up really soon, and you also do them quite regularly. Can you tell us about your one that's coming up?
Sure. The next one is on the 27th. It's this Saturday, 27th of August, and it's from 9 until approximately 3 o'clock at the Akashic Ranch. You can visit my website to find out details, or you can visit the Akashic Ranch calendar of events website, and all the details are there. And as for other walks, I schedule walks, what I call open walks on Sundays, most Sundays, and you can check my website for that schedule. I'm just preparing one for the fall. Right at this moment, there's nothing there, but I'm preparing one for the fall. And there'll be Sunday afternoons. Now that the weather is getting cooler, we can be out in the afternoon and not broil to death. And people can book. You can book an individual walk, which it's just you and me, or bring a friend, or a group from work, or group of friends, your family. And it can be any day of the week and any time of the year. Winter, spring, summer, fall. It's all good. And there are so many beautiful, almost sacred places around Kamloops of extremely unique land features. Different areas have different wildlife and birds, different flora and fauna. We can be by the water. We can be in the grasslands. We can be in the silt cliffs. We can be up in the volcanic pores in Tranquille. There's so many amazing places that we can go. And the walks aren't meant to be tiring. They are completely wandering, slow, generous of time, wandering with yourself.
Oh, that sounds absolutely magical.
It
is! My next question for you was going to be, does a person have to have a certain level of fitness or have to be able to go fast? But you just answered it. It sounds like you just go slowly and gently, and the purpose is nature and connection.
That's right. You will experience uneven ground, and some people who always walk on concrete have problems with uneven ground. So just fairly good balance. And the walks do go for 3-4 hours. So you can sit and take little breathers in there as you like. But they're very slow, and they're meant to be, because it slows down the mind. And it slows
Usually
down.
When we're walking, we're going fast and we're on our way somewhere. But this sounds like you're just slowing everything down.
Yep, everything.
Very nice. We're going to be sure to put all the information down below here so that everybody can connect with you through your website, and also the Akashic Ranch website. So that information will all be there. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with before we sign off?
I wish you all a spiritual awakening, because we all have to get there sometime. And I hope to see you on a walk.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary. You have so much wisdom to offer. I feel like we could dive in deep to everything you know, but it would take about, a few days. I was going to say a few hours, but it would take a few days for sure. So thank
Oh,
you so much.
thanks. Oh, thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
And we'll definitely speak with you again and hope that some people will join you on your walk this weekend.
Great.
Everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. If you loved this video, consider that you might share it with somebody else who needs it. So just copy the link and send it off to your friends or family. Thanks again. So I stopped.